Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru.
Within marriage time, suddenly the caste pops up. It's like the hidden genie no one was talking about. Suddenly marriage is coming up, and the first thing they seem to ask is, what caste is he? Before that, it wasn't a concern. You had langar with them, you could have friends with them. But oh no, don't you dare marry outside of caste. Let's understand the caste system quickly, because amongst the Sikhs, a lot of people don't understand it too well. Now, firstly, the caste system is not like the class system. The class system means that you are low class, upper class, middle class. You have a certain way of thinking. You have a certain kind of schooling. You have a certain kind of way of behaving. The thing with the caste system is, it's not like that. It's rigid. You could be lower class, and over time you could make loads of money, and then your thinking becomes middle class, right? And you could even become upper class if you get through the family, you have some land, blah, 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 you get a title. Suddenly you've gone up the class system. But you cannot go up and down the caste system. That's it. Where you are stuck there. That's the first distinction that we don't need to understand. The second thing is, when it comes to class, it doesn't talk about religion or spirituality. We know that somebody could be poor, but we don't think sometimes that there's a difference between their access to God. But the caste system is not like that. The Hindu caste system used to have five main areas. The first four were in the caste system. You had the Brahmins, the religious people. Then you had the Kshatris or Khatris, who were the warriors. Then you had the traders. And then you had the people that were doing the menial jobs. But there was also those people that were outside of those four. They were the untouchables, achut. You couldn't even touch them. Even the lowest people in the caste system wouldn't even touch those people that were outside the caste system, right? The first top two castes would get mukti. That was the idea. They were called twice born. Yeah, those people in the top two, that's what they would wear the janu. Even though Guru Nanak Dev Ji was not was part of the second caste, Khatri, that's why they were told to wear the janu. They were not a Brahmin, but they were still given the janu to wear, because those people were guaranteed mukti. And everybody else on the lower two, they had to basically be a good person and get reborn as the top two. So if they were lucky and they did all the work they had to do, trading, they couldn't do any part, they weren't allowed to fight, they had to be like disarmed and not spiritual. But if they were good, they would get reborn as a top two. Sounds like an amazing system for the top two, isn't it? Yeah, it's like a great way of controlling society, because that's what it was. It was a control mechanism. Yeah, and society is very stable when you've got the caste system playing around. People don't go up and down, because guess what? If you're a lower caste person and you rebel, what will happen to you? You will not get reborn as a Brahmin or a Khatri. You will not get mukti. So there's a fear aspect of breaking away from the caste system as well. Now, amongst the Sikhs, what's funny is, although we've got this caste system, it's not really linked to spirituality. Yeah? No one thinks that because I'm a certain caste, that I'm going to get mukti and the other person isn't. So this is different from the Hindu system. Now let's talk about why we've got this system then. Why have we got this cultural pride in our background, and yet we haven't got the spiritual aspect linked? Some of this is basically, you know, when you want to control a society, you might make a system, but you got to make people believe in it. So in those days, they would have two ways of doing this. The first way was to make you feel a little bit proud of your caste. Yeah? And in fact, people did this as a bit of a coping mechanism, because they had no choice, right? If you were stuck in your caste and you could never go outside your caste, then you might as well be happy what you have. So people developed this kind of pride as a coping mechanism. And there was a practicality element to it as well. If you were a farmer, right, and you couldn't marry outside of your caste, actually it made a bit of sense for you. Because if there was a girl going to come into your family, right, and she was from a family that was maybe not involved in farming, let's say they were involved in, I don't know, hairdressing, and there was a farmer's family, if that girl came into that family, she'd find it hard to cope with the work that was expected of her, because she'd never done it before, right? And in those days, obviously, the whole family got involved in the job that the family was doing. It wasn't, I mean, even now, there's a lot of people here, I'm sure, whose families are like shopkeepers, and so they've grown up working in that shop, and they know all about how a shop works, yeah? So this is how it would work in those days, because you stayed in your family business. Everybody got involved in it. However, what about now? Here we are in the West, yeah? You could have one person who works their whole life as a driver. Their son goes to university, becomes a lawyer or a doctor. When he gets to a working level, he's no longer looking for somebody who's necessarily going to be their partner and helping him do a driving job. So the caste system isn't here. But the problem is, what originally was a coping mechanism, right? Because you were stuck in your caste, so you might as well be proud of it. And you might as well keep people happy inside their caste. Because they go outside the caste, they'll get beaten up. Now, what did it become? It's become a proud caste system. Now it's based upon pride. Because you know what? Everybody needs something to hold on to. So therefore, if we haven't got Sikhi, if we've got nothing in the world, we grasp onto whatever we can. We grasp onto maybe somebody's a Jat, somebody's Tarkhan. And there are cultural traits as well. There are still those traits around. Some people are very straight talking. Some people are a bit more, intelligent. The thing is though, if you take a son of a Jat, for example, stick him in a working business, which is very much about making money, his characteristics will change. He will end up being, because how your sangat is, that's how you become, right? So ultimately, the caste system doesn't exist today. And there's no restrictions if you break your caste. Society won't ostracize you. You won't get beaten up. You won't get, killed for breaking your caste. The problem is, we still got the pride system. We still got pride. But actually, we need to understand this pride was given to us. It was forced upon us because we couldn't change it. So now that pride is holding us back from actually following our Guru. Because our Guru is saying, Char varan ik varan karaun. Tabe Gobind Singh naam kahaun. He says, I will make all four castes into one. Maharaj, when they made the Panj Pyare, they were of all different castes. Yeah. The key thing you understand is, Sikhi develops. The Panj Pyare were the Guru, and the Guru was all different castes. Yeah. They were different people inside the Panj Pyare. Nowadays, those people that say that they're warriors need to look back and think, who were the warriors back in those days? They weren't necessarily only the one caste. They were of many different castes. Actually, there are no such things that are genetic traits. It's all social engineering. And it was used to suppress us. And now we're using it to suppress each other. I don't know if you ever heard this story. There was an experiment done. It's an interesting experiment. They got some monkeys. They put them in a room. And the floor was electrocuted. Only when they turned the switch on. Not all the time. Banji got a bit stressed there. Yeah, she was just electrocuted these pure monkeys. And what they would do is they'd put a banana up on an area, and the monkeys would obviously go for the banana, right? But whenever they went for the banana, electricity was switched on, and it electrocuted them. So all four realized now, they kept going for it, but every time they went for it, they all got electrocuted. So after some time, they all realized, don't go for the banana. It's going to electrocute you. So they stopped, and they carried on living normally, as long as they didn't touch the bananas. So they learned their lesson. Then what happened is they took one of those monkeys out, and they put a new monkey in. Now obviously this monkey now is going to go for the banana, right? Because he doesn't know. So all three monkeys then jumped on him and stopped him from going for them. Every time he went for the banana, they beat him up. So that monkey then said, you know what, I can't go for the banana because they'll beat me up. So he stopped. They took one more monkey out, put a new one in. Of course, that monkey did it as well, right? So then the other three jumped on him as well. Stop him going for the bananas. Time and time they did this. But they kept taking out one of the original monkeys that knew about electricity. After some time, there was 4 monkeys in there that had never been electrocuted. Had never felt the pain of staying in that system. And yet, nobody went for the bananas. Yeah? Because society is like that. They got conditioned into not doing this thing. And the same way with us now, with the caste system, yeah? We've been conditioned by it for so long, people don't even realize where it came from. They're still doing it.